Hey everyone, I'm Tassenix, and welcome to another chill stream. It is the eve before Season 74, 3 versus 3 Grand Arena Championship, Week 2, Round 2. As far as where we are this season, the first week, I was down in Florida visiting Disney/Universal Studios, where I got this nifty mall hat. So that's where I was week 1, no streams. I got home late on Sunday, and yeah, I just was worn out on Monday, just didn't do anything. And then round 1 of this week, I had an Aurodium. So that brings us up to a total of 3 out of 4 rounds so far have been Aurodiums. Just been neat. How's everybody else doing? See here, Wolfman, good to see you. Vin Altabi, Marin, good to see you. Grayport says, never knew Vader helped Omega and the team so much in the animated series. I mean, glad CG was showing that interaction, or I would have never known. Yeah, this is probably the most noxious single bug that's ever been in that. Correct me if I'm wrong here. I don't think there's ever been just a straight up not defeatable team before. Could be wrong. Glad you like the hat, Wolfman. Yeah, sorry to see anybody who got snagged up by that. The thing is that there are some things that are technically bugs or technically exploits that I want to say there's ones in the past where it's like, it's been forgivable. It's been kind of like, that sucks to see, but that's different. But this one, you have to go out of your way to set this kind of composition. And you know why you're setting it. And you're doing it because you know you're a scumbag. And so, yeah. Can you imagine TW with this bug? No. And I hope CG can't either. They have made that announcement earlier today that they're looking to put out a hotfix within the next day or so. So here's hoping. All right. You guys know the drill for these chill streams. I've got a job to do here in TB, and you guys probably have some questions. So line them up. We'll knock them down. Set do I like for Hondo? I mean, while it's still here, the pirate set for sure. When it's gone, that's actually a good question. So you figure you're probably running. The thing is that as far as attackers go, you might otherwise run Hondo instead of one of the attackers, the OG Hondo. So it makes you wonder whether or not you get the most mileage out of support. But yeah, while it's in season, the Pyrocron's going to be the good one. You wanted to see the hat, says Grayport. It's late for you, and I did not disappoint. Glad it could be here for you, man. Yeah, it is really dope. And if you go there to Disney World at the end of the Star Tours ride, which by the way is the oldest of all of the Star Wars rides, and they've updated it and refreshed it and given it a whole bunch of different alternate routes and stuff on this motion guided, simulator ride. But my daughter loved it, by the way. It was her single favorite ride. But this is like, I think the only place I could find in all of the Star Wars parks that sold this hat. And I think we'd all agree. It's pretty dope. So, I was happy with that. Alright, Vin says, did you have time to look at that combo I sent you? And if so, what do you think about it? Did you just send me something? And that Night Sister thing? Yeah, I'm not interested in trying to replicate that. I'll be honest with you. That seems a little bit too bumpy. All right, Rick. Ask, what secondary should I be looking for on crit damage sets? So ideally, we're looking for crit chance, right? Because the more crit chance you have with a crit damage set, and likewise, if you're farming crit chance sets, especially to go with it, the more crit chance you have through secondaries, the less reliant you are on having a 2-piece of crit chance in particular, which I think is only worth 8%. So you could see yourself easily getting that. The only reason to have a 2-piece of crit chance is if substituting with a health set that added up to 8% still wasn't enough crit chance. You needed more on top of that. Then you'd have to go all the way. Otherwise, the more crit chance you have in your crit damage set, that you'll have more freedom with what your 2-piece is. Obviously, offense is right up there. So crit chance and offense probably indispensable for me on a crit damage mod. And then, speed is generally a requirement. But that's not something I'd look uniquely for on a crit damage mod. So, hope that helps you. Greyport says, my dad used to work for Disney at Epcot. I remember Star Tours and flying through the trench and everything else. Yeah, man, it was dope. My daughter absolutely loved it. She also loved Winnie the Pooh. She really fell in love with Winnie the Pooh on this trip. I'm not really one for amusement parks, but again, shout out to my mother-in-law, because she's the one that treated the whole family to this trip. And I really just didn't expect much in terms of being impressed by rides or anything, because I'm not really into that kind of thing. And then when we went to Epic Universe, they have this Donkey Kong minecart ride. And for those of us that played, those of us of, distinction and taste who played the SNES, what was it? Whatever the name of the Donkey Kong game was, Donkey Kong Country. When you're doing the mine levels and you're racing through on a bum-ass minecart on broken tracks, twisting tracks, and you have to time your jumps and everything, this ride really did a really bang-up job of emulating that feeling. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the shit out of that. I felt like a kid on that ride. And it was super, super cool. Now, the other one that was right next to it, which I was just gobsmacked by, was the AR Mario Kart ride. Because the whole waiting area, by the way, has the game come a long way since we were kids with waiting in lines and shit. I mean, don't get me wrong, the line lengths can be outrageous. But I have to say, the areas that you have to wait through, they've really considered that and given you something to look at. In some cases, even things to interact with. But going through the waiting area for the Mario Kart ride, you are literally in Bowser's Castle. You've got the music playing. I heard the castle theme. It feels like you're inside the castle from Super Mario 64. And the ride itself was dope. I mean, you've got this little AR goggles on, and you are with your controller both steering the cart and using it to shoot AR, shells and shit at opponents in front of you. There's a competitive score for hits amongst everybody that's in your party playing. It was really fun. It was exactly what you would want to think a real-life Mario Kart kind of experience would be. So, loved it. Just loved it. Do you think that could theoretically work, or does it look like cheating to you? I think that if it's something like 25% win rate, that tells me it's something that's vaguely possible, not something that seems like a cheat. If it was something that somebody was pulling off with some kind of regularity, if you saw a player ever do that successfully twice in a row, I would be like, So, let me know if you see more of that, Vin. What's the crit chance rate you need to guarantee each attack, says CT Drill. That really depends on the type of attacker. So in general, characters are going to have a higher base physical crit chance rating than they will special. Fortunately, characters are generally either physical or special, so you kind of know up front what you're dealing with because their abilities say what type of damage they do. But I would say for a physical attacker, these days, 85 to 90% feels like the safe floor. If you're going now, that's whether or not you're in an offense set or a crit damage set. However, if you are in a crit damage set, I like to be another 10% higher because so much depends on you actually landing that crit. And why do I make the point about this added amount of crit chances? There's just more casual amounts of crit avoidance out there than there used to be. And yeah, I just don't want to get caught out. Now, as far as special damage dealers go, I would say most people will tell you 70% is kind of what you want to go for special damage dealers. I would say it really depends because there's so very, very few characters that actually matter in this way. Now, it just so happens that I get to plug for my latest Relic 10 today. I decided to do Ben solo, and I think you guys are going to like what it came out. All right, so just about 70,000 health, 305 speed, crit damage triangle, just over 100% potency, and 19,340 special offense with 60% special crit chance. So, there are a number of folks that will tell you that they'd rather see my effort on getting this bit of potency converted into more crit chance so that he has just all that much more kapow up front. I gotta tell you, in practice, he's getting enough crit chance from his mastery gains early enough in the game that I'm generally critting. And I'm okay with that. And even if I'm not critting, you have to think that the amount of offense that I've got pumped into these mods is such that this is higher than what most people would have if that was another offense primary on the triangle, you know? So I can completely live with that. All right. Lord Megatron, good to see you, Tass. Hope you and the fam had a great trip. We really did. It was a fantastic time overall. All right, your raid team is going to be a nightmare to face. That's kind of the hope, man. I'm not saying it's necessarily the very next Relic 10 for me, but obviously Exile Ezra's on the short list. So it'll probably be too late to help me for this 3v3 season. But I imagine by the time we come to next 3 vs 3, I will have that done. A bad time. Gonna love it. Good to see you, Dagger. All right, Snack Attack says, oh, shit, I don't have the chat log on. Just got to keep me honest with that. All right, Snack Attack says, I tried Riva against the Bobacron. Boba did not gain Deathmark after dispelling Purge. Am I missing something? The language on the Kron is at the beginning of his turn, Boba dispelled. Oh. You'd think that would trigger it. You would think that would trigger it. Interesting, Snack Attack. I don't know why that would be. Yeah, this is my next match, by the way, guys. I'll stream this on Saturday. Round 2. Real fight, finally, versus Baby Yoda. So, should be a fun one.
Really quick, because I'm not typing this all up, but the way sometimes the coding works is it dispels all the buffs before they take their turn, which means if he did get a death mark applied, it would remove itself before the beginning of his turn. Treya had this same bug back in the day, and we've seen it a couple other times, so my guess is it's a coding error.
Very good. I appreciate you. They take my Lord Vader. I can't believe they would do that to me. I can't have nothing nice. I'll have to use something else. So, through Though I do fight others than Herbert, says Sheepdog. Yes, I am occasionally permitted to do such things. Holy shit, they literally took all my GLs. Alright, we're gonna have to do this the hard way then, eh? Alright. Time for Captain Insano. Heal them all. Yeah, I heard about some new game. New KOTOR thing. I don't know if I even dare express enthusiasm. I've been burned before. I'm jaded. Also, I don't know how that's not the only thing you're talking about right now, Tats. It's because I gotta be honest with you. By and large, the last 10 to 15 years of Star Wars games have been pretty disappointing, with the exception of SWGOH. I know it's by the game director that made KOTOR. Awesome. Let's see it when the product comes in hand. I've got enough reason to be skeptical about what can be delivered, because boy, have I been promised the damn moon about shit to do with KOTOR. Remaster, remake, successor, blah blah blah. Put the damn product in my hand and then we'll talk about it, you know? Alright. Yeah, you want me to go to general chat and watch the trailer? Alright, I haven't seen the trailer, so we can all watch that together. Okay, here we go. Close the chat for a minute. Oh shit, my bad. That was an intriguing first trailer, is what I was saying. And we'll see. I just want to see what the final product is. And honestly, everything else is just talk. I can't tell you how many amazing ideas of the last 10 to 15 years have just failed to actually make first delivery. So enough of that for me. All right, where was I? We can pull off a couple of things, surely. How about Separatists? Grievous is still useful sometimes, I promise. Mm-hmm. That's a good one. Different coverage. Some of it. There we go. All right. One day I will turn chat back on. Yes, on the screen. Yes, that's my bad. All right. Yeah, indeed, Kimmy. All hype, no game product. That's what I'm saying. Just show me what it is when it comes out. I'll be so excited to try and be impressed by a Star Wars game again. Honestly, like, I haven't been wowed by a Star Wars games since Jedi Knight Academy 2. So, yeah. Has anyone run into an R10 DR Levy in GAC? Yeah, I have, but I also had it, so both, me and my opponent set it on defense, and so we both saved Executor for it, and we both got 71 against it, and that's the gentleman's agreement. That's the way it is. Zaver99 says, "Hey Tass, on one of the recent plotting and scheming, there was a segment of raising the ceiling versus the floor. I know the context was endgame players, but do your feelings match for mid-game players as well?" I think that I have to remember exactly the context in which we were talking about the ceiling versus the floor. Did I not enjoy Fallen Order? It was okay. Okay. Honestly, it felt very on the rails. It felt very, I went where I was meant to go. I don't know. It was all well executed and everything, but I don't know. I've been more impressed by other games that were Star Wars. Like, probably my top 2 Star Wars games of all time are, Jedi Knight Academy, whatever it was. And then, I don't think it was a JKA 2, but I think it was just Jedi Knight Academy. And then the other one was, of course, TIE Fighter. This TIE Fighter was awesome. It actually had a storyline to it. It was how most people met Thrawn, I imagine. Oh, we were talking about 1 R10 versus 2 R9. Yes. Yes, that certainly is probably more meaningful for most people to take the 2 R9s. As far as mid-game goes, I think you have to be still reasonably picky about your Relic 9s, but you just get to do more of them. You get to decide when you want to spend the extra materials to break down into droid brains. Now, you can accelerate it as you will, but the same logic would apply in terms you're wanting to get those priority GLs into Relic 9, then some other tanks, then maybe some other attackers, then other like lower priority GLs, stuff like that. Let's see. Karthik says, I feel like Fallen Order was so highly praised because everything else Star Wars at the time was a bit lackluster. Certainly, like, what was it, Star Wars Squadron? It was a game that launched like a couple of years ago, and it was immediately dead on arrival. Like, they announced that there was going to be no more updates for it, basically, from launch. They made like one patch to correct some stuff, and then it's just basically been on life support ever since. And it was gorgeous, man. I thought it was going to be the successor to TIE Fighter. I was completely geeked. I literally bought a new joystick to play that game. And imagine my disappointment when it was mostly just, on rails fighter, which is incredibly uninteresting. That's the type of space combat in the Old Republic MMO, stuff like that. Like, nah. I need freedom of movement. I could do it in the literal 90s in TIE Fighter. What are we talking about? Why am I fighting on rails in 20-something? You know? I don't think I need to worry anymore. Yeah, I think you just turn on the hose now. Oh boy. Hey, stop it. How dare you? Back on auto. We'll get him one. Next questions, folks. Yeah, Fallen Order, it was good. It was good. I liked the story and everything. I thought it was a good game. Why do they say Inquisitor? Oh, right there, isn't it? Yeah, it is. All right, Inquisitors it is, then. Stevo says, hey, Tass, how's it going? It's good, man. Enjoying some bourbon, taking questions, and hopefully not getting exploded here in the immediate future. That. Don't need this. Need you to not be Arthur 2.0. You're gonna have to help me out with that, buddy. Not sure what that means. Does that mean I'm doing photography work? Hmm. When are you playing Expedition 33? I think I told you I was going to do it when I was on break. So the real answer to that is, I'll be on vacation for the rest of the year starting December 19th. At which point I intend to become a neckbeard as like the tales of old. And yeah. Just see how obsessed I can get with that game before my wife drags me out of the room. Yeah, I see Vin Altabi said something that captured my thoughts on that new Star Wars game. Yeah, it looks as if you couldn't play the game even if you wanted to, and then I love it when they show no gameplay whatsoever. Yeah, that's my other thing with trailers is, like, I get it. As a first trailer, you want to tease a theme, a feeling, something. Okay, it doesn't need to be all gameplay. But not even flashes of alpha footage, not even something that feels like it's from a real engine. I don't know, man. My thing is, I think games, like, especially anything that's gonna go with a AAA IP like Star Wars, should be very well done. But in particular, Star Wars, I can never accept anything less than what feels like the best. Like, this is one of the premium IPs on the planet. It is nowhere for somebody to have baby's first day making a game, making anything that's Star Wars. And yeah, I want to be wowed. But quite frankly, I mostly am not. And yeah. Alright, we got Darkseid done. Go moves on. Fake a tan, they say. That's funny. Funny guy. Alright. Karthik says, quickly let me go grab my copy of Star Wars Eclipse. Oh, wait. Yes. Yes! No. Oh. That's ass. Well, I'm not gonna waste all that. No. Now you die. Rat. What else is on you guys' mind? Pretty excited to have my second real round of the season tomorrow. Well, whatever, Saturday, but yeah. No. You bastard. No. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Hmm.
No. No. No, no.
Oh, yeah. All right. Hi. What do we? Yeah. Hi. Yeah.
No. No.
I love this.
No, no.
Hi. Yeah. All right, Rock Gunner says, I know this is a bit below your level, but how viable is 4-star Profundity? I'll probably unlock it at the end of January, and I'm wondering if it's worth refreshing if I can get #1 in fleets without doing so. That's a really good question, Rock. I couldn't honestly give you an answer on that. Anybody who has real practical experience want to field that question for Rock Gunner? That's a good one. Star Wars Battlefront 2 on PS2 is the last great Star Wars game? Maybe. Nothing for you to bet on? I'm sorry, Hare. There's nothing really at risk. It's just TB, man. Hey, stop that. Leave him alone. You dare hurt him. Forbid it. Hey, good. There we go. Yeah, we just actually watched it here, Heratran, the new Fate of the Old Republic trailer. Yeah, I mean, it looks like an interesting first trailer. Like, something I want to see in terms of the, I don't know, feel of it, but I'll just wait to see what the actual game is that they deliver. And we'll just leave it at that. Yeah. Hope it doesn't end up like Eclipse, banger trailer, then AWOL. Love the mall cap. Yeah, man, I really enjoyed being there at Disney. It was a really great time. Had an unexpectedly fantastic time at the newest park at Universal Studios, Epic Universe. I gotta say, that place was as awesome as the other two parks were not that great for me. Both Islands of Adventure and, what was it, the main Universal Studios park. You know, didn't do a lot for me, but you know what? They're not really for me, and that's okay. That being said, that's why the stuff at Epic Universe really stood out. I was surprised by how much I enjoyed it.
No.
Sadly, still probably 4 to 5 years away. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that can happen in 4 to 5 years, you know? Got a ton of possible Star Wars games being announced, hinted at, but zero actual proof of anything. Not a fan of that. Oh, a hype train just got started. Wow, guys, thank you. Hold on, let me go flip back over to Twitch because I don't recall hearing the related chimes for that. Heratran resubscribed with Prime. Dagger resubscribed with Prime. Thank you guys so much. And what was the last event? I don't know what it was. I don't know who just kicked it off, but thank you. Thank you. We are into a level 1 hype train. You guys hear the music still? Okay, yeah, I hear it. There it is. The very, very edge of my hearing. Thank you guys. It's been a while. Let me see. Steve-O, you said, I wish I knew whether my opponent cheated or is just really good. For what I said and what he said, I don't feel like he should have been able to one-shot my board, get a 2074. I mean, that's not an absolutely perfect score, so it doesn't sound like cheating. Or if it is cheating, it's somebody who has the smarts to not make it look super obvious. Which, let's be honest, not likely.
No.
Yes, Daggermate says, I want you to know that my ex-wife is giving you $3 a month to play a video game. And a phone game at that. I hope she knows that. That's something you can always have over her for any future conversation. You said you were going to drop off the kids at 5 o'clock and it's 5:02. Oh, yeah? Well, you've been giving $3 a month to an internet stranger for going on here. There you go. Keep those questions coming, folks. I'm just kind of absentmindedly doing PB here. Well, Just get in where we fit in. Oh. All better. And the food at Epcot is just as good as I remember it being. My only regret is that I got there slightly before 11, so I couldn't start like my fat kid journey going from one end to the park, kind of eating something along every step. I got about halfway, 3/4 through Epcot before most of the stands opened, like walking through. So by that time, I was just hungry, and I had no interest in pacing myself, which, yeah, my loss, because I could have eaten more variety, and did not. How am I enjoying Coliseum, asks Snack Attack? Yeah, I mean, it's just a loot pinata to me. It's not really anything to enjoy. It's a means to get Relic 10. About it. Paratran, with the free Kyber Lightspeed token and extra error currency, I'm tempted to get Great Mothers up and running to the detriment of Maz, currently having enough Zetas for Maz's team, but they're still G12, actively farming the gear. While Great Mother's whole team will be Relic 5 or so. Should I delay Maz a bit in this situation? I think the pressure to have Maz is that if you've already got Pirate King and you've got pretty much almost an entire other team worth of pirates, right? If that's the case, maybe there's some pressure on. Otherwise, yeah, I could see you going after Great Mothers. Thank you guys for that hype train. Appreciate it. Best. Yeah. Maybe the Great Mothers are a good way to go then. Especially if it's kind of a wash about how progressed you are for either team. Okay. What, maybe Gungans over there? We'll figure that out. My God, they took my profundity. There's nothing sacred. Can I just do it with home one like a boss? I want to believe that the answer is yes. So we get to go premium. Over. Over. I want to say there's something about specifically not. Okay. There are no deployed scoundrel allies. Can't start MILF or Outrider. Yeah, that seems a little disappointing. Okay. Oh. Do it like so then. Yeah, they can't stop me. Yeah, there it is. Thanks, guys. Yeah, starting with the Scoundrel ruins the kit. You can use Y-Wing if you want. He's objectively a better tank. Yeah, I could see that. All right, let's see how it goes. Ugh. Ugh. This is hateful. Love it. Yeah, I can see the Han's Millennium Falcon is a second. Yeah. Oh, yeah. All coming together. Hi. Fun times. We were able to make do. They like queen for that. What's down here? Jedi Master Ace. A good auto. And Phoenix. Okay. Yeah, Steve-O, that sounds pretty close to accurate, your calculation. Zoltar says, really the only Star Wars game I want right now is a large-scale RTS spanning all the eras. That'd be pretty dope, yeah. I mean, the latest Battlefront 2 could have been the greatest game, probably of the decade, if it didn't immediately launch with loot boxes and have players up in arms against it from the day it launched. That really crippled its success, and rightfully so, because they reversed that, and I think other games did learn, but it limited how successful that game could be. Yeah, Total War, Star Wars, I could deal with it. Yeah, I could see that kind of thing happening. I think there is an appetite for RTS out there. Because, you know, there's been a few RTSs of late. I've got a couple of friends playing new RTS, but I just installed Warcraft 3 again the other day. I had the itch. Still have StarCraft 2 installed. Bugga Gameplay. What's going on, man? Hello, Tass. How are you? No live streams lately. Yeah, if you're just getting here now, I was saying when we started off tonight. So week 1, I was down in Florida on vacation and just no streams. And then the round 1 of this week was a Aurodium. And in the first week, I had 2 Aurodiums. And then 1 match with Herbert, in which I did lose by 1 banner. Which I'm pretty pleased with, considering I went in cold for that. So, that's where I'm at so far. Oh shit, we gotta focus on killing this guy. Yeah, good job, nice stun. You finish the job, buddy. Oh, like that. Stop getting there. Stop living. Okay, thank you. Yeah, Warcraft 3 is one of the best ever. Yeah, man. That hero combat's really fun. Yeah, I've got a real match for round 2 of this week, and I'll be up against Baby Yoda, and I'll be playing that out on Saturday. Wow, you're 4-0 this 3 versus 3. This might be 4-1 this round, but I had the face Omega Vader team this last round. Yeah. Yeah, I hope they have that patched quick, man. That is pretty abominable. People running that. What can you say? Ando, hey, what's going on, man? How you doing? Cheers to you. How you been? Good to see you. We are just relaxing, knocking out some TB, you know. Yeah, Dagger says the Phantom Menace shitters look like they will run it. You know, that's a shame because I'd like not to think less of them as opponents. A lot of them are actually really good players, but yeah, man, if they have a willingness to run that, that's pretty dirt. I'm pretty sure Arsenal fought him in round 1, and I don't think he ran it. Fought Herbert. Yeah. According to what Arsenal said, he did not run that. So, if Phantom's Menace guys are running that team, at least it's not Herbert. You want to give people the benefit of the doubt. Your opponent was an officer in Paw Patrol? Yeah, well... You know, I'm just going to go ahead and say I'm not surprised. PDO and CU banned it in Guild, but it looks like one of the lower ones did it. Another one looks like he plans to. I mean, it's a shame. Yeah, and some people are like that. It ruins GAC. The point of GAC is strategy and theory crafting, not broken mechanics. Yeah, I think this is a uniquely noxious bug because I don't think we've ever had a straight-up undefeatable team before. Maybe something where you had to absurdly overkill it. Maybe you had to actually two-shot it by, you know, taking it apart and letting it time out. But I don't know if there's ever been something where you straight up couldn't beat it before, no matter what you did. And yeah, unlike a lot of you know, bugs or so-called exploits of the past, were things that would happen while you would be setting a reasonably normal composition of a given team. So it's tough to call it an exploit when it's a team you might otherwise set. But if you're setting this this particular, broken composition, you're doing it deliberately. You're doing it with full knowledge of what it is and why it works and why you're doing it, and it does make you a shitty person for that. Maybe you're a good person in real life and you pay your taxes, but you're also the type of guy that'll kick a kid's soccer ball into the street and watch it get hit by a bus. It's not a big evil in the grand sense of the term evil, but it's a little evil, and it's also the most kind of like, what the fuck, man? Mm-hmm. Yes, Carthrick, I must have my 700 crystals at any cost except actual cash. Yeah, it does make you want to say, for anybody who does employ that team against you, you are more or less obligated to open up a DM with them and say, listen, man, if you're that hard up for 700 crystals, I could Venmo you like the $5-6. Listen, I don't want to see people going hungry. I don't want to see you get put out because you couldn't make your rent for want of that extra $5-6. And I understand the desperate state of mind you had to be in where you felt like that's something you needed to do. So you've moved me. You have my pity. You have my sympathy. Let me do for you what God has clearly not up until this point. Okay. Gavon says, it was weird to be hard stopped by a team with ETH Koth on it, I'm sure. Yeah, it's plenty noxious. Small wonder there. Really, Dagger? How many Maw guys were actually doing it? I'm sad to hear that. You'd want to believe not. I guess times change. Arthur says, yeah, I lost my round by 12 because I was forced to drop a battle versus Omega Vader. Oh well. Yeah, it is extra scummy. And, you really hope that the people that stooped to feeling, that they really had to do that in order to win, you really hope that they get themselves out of the deep poverty that they found themselves mired in, where they were never going to find that $5 or $6 otherwise. That 700 crystals. They were never going to be able to come by that otherwise, so you really can't blame them for doing what they felt they had to do to survive. It was this or nothing on the kitchen table. You realize that? That's what these people are up against, so... Are you not moved by their plight? Yeah, you should set a legit defense, Gallons. Farah, I hope the interaction gets changed and neutered without CG saying anything, so those that set it get a nice surprise once GAC history becomes available. I mean, surely, since they made an announcement that they're aware of it and that they're looking to patch it, I think they will, pretty obviously make an announcement when they make that good. They fix that. team. Arthur says, I would rather lose than give them cash. Lord knows they wouldn't use it wisely. Fair. What's going on, Ricardo Martinez? Good to see you. Just rolling through EB. Yeah, well, I mean, whatever, Hera, but you know that they're going to announce it. They're going to announce it. The people running it will have fair notice to have changed it, but yeah, that it does feel like an incredibly obvious exploit, so, you know? Is what it is, man. It really is. It was surprising. Not just like, you know, for all the Swugga Discords that I read, I was surprised how controversial this was. I was surprised how many people were willing to rise to the defense of using this exploit team. Really surprised. I mean, yeah, actually surprised. I mean, really. Who needs it like that? Turns out, a surprisingly large number. Arthric, I'm actually more curious on how they fix it more than anything. Yeah. Spaghetti code's a hell of a drug. God, Boba Fett. So strong. Boom. Do they change your captive mechanic to reduce on any ally's turn, or do they change the Vadercron to not work without light side allies? Yeah, I mean, there's actually a pretty good number of solutions they could use to specifically correct the effects of this Kron. So, whatever. We'll wait to see what they put out. But I think we can agree whatever the solution is, it really needs to come quick, because that is incredibly toxic. Alright, what's next? Gungan, hey, Leia. Leia, we can do. Be done with everything on Light Side already? Both the light planets? The answer is yes. What was over here? One more. That can be Gungans, that can be Finn. This is Leia, then we still have, yeah, like JMK and Rey and stuff. Hey, Ben. Okay, I was happy / sad to see Jocasta fixed. Yeah, That was another one that one took way too long to get fixed. Not only just everything bugged with the rifle transform, but like the infinite ability to spam the AoE, like the death AoE. That was insane. Never should have gone on that long, but better late than never. You enjoyed it, Parade? Oh, I absolutely bet. I bet that's the case. That was an easy couple of weeks. I'm sure of that. Dragon Mike, followed the channel. Welcome. Welcome. You're on Twitch and on YouTube. Appreciate that. Welcome. They took away everything. Me. They took everything from me. Yep, negotiator it is. Wow, they took most of my dark side. They took all of everything but Pirate King Honda. They took my dark side GLs. They took my 3 meta fleets. No, they didn't take Leviathan. Okay. Dragon Mike, you have a question. Well, go ahead. Fire away. Do for you. Yeah, I think this will work. Yeah, I did use Levy. Yeah. But what's up, Dragon Mike? Let's hear it. Sure. Oh, bitch. What's this? Okay. Oh no. Wiped out by the Houndstooth, no less. Damn. Okay, JMK here. I'm having a problem doing the vulnerable quest and the journey quest. How do I do that, or who do I need to... Okay. Yeah, Hera says, use Aiden in the R2 event. Her first special is AoE vulnerable. Sana Basic also does it. Rock Gunner just linked a list of characters that inflict vulnerable. So, see who you have in that list, Dragon Mike. Yeah, and Rock Gunner says that, you know, there's about a year on those quests, so you certainly have time to get them done. Star Wars nerd, hey, how's it going, everyone? What's going on, man? Good to see you. Welcome. Knocking out the last couple teams in TV here. You guys are taking it pretty easy tonight for a chill stream, as far as questions go. So, I guess you guys have a pretty solid idea what you're doing going into this next round, which means you're in a better spot than I am. Winging it. What's the best level 3 for quad main with the attacker, Kron? I would say it's probably bulk. That would be my guess. I would say you'd have to really make the case for what you need the 25% turn meter, the other characters for. Reds fan says, hey, what's up? Cube Defense checking in. What is your favorite special character special move? Wow, interesting question. Wow. I mean, Sith Eternal's Zap is really visually impressive when you slow it down. I'd say Malicos Rocks is up there for me. I'm a caveman, and I'm impressed by throwing many rocks. Of course, I mean, calling down the Star Destroyer with Star Killer has to be up there for anybody. That probably has to be the single most impressive ability, right? Yeah, see, Reds fan says Star Killer nuke. Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you for subscribing, Steve-O. Appreciate you. I had a Relic 10 Lord Vader with Attacker Crown and your opponent one-shot it. Yeah, that's probably Maz, if I had to guess. Yeah, no worries, Star Wars nerd. We do try to answer most questions so people aren't lingering. But, yeah, that's kind of my way of poking you guys with a stick. OG Vader's basic is pretty authoritative, Paratran. There's nothing wrong with that. Very nice. Braun just throwing hands with Fracture. Yeah, that one's a good one. I like it. Don't you dare, you son of a bitch. Destroy him. Kill them. All of them. Come on, Zori. Don't take no shit from nobody. That's right. Rock Gunner. I got Balin this week. How are my mods in Discord? Says Rock Gunner. Okay, let's have a look. See what you got here. Gear 12. Did you do the P unit compare for Relic 9? Because I guess I can see it in context of the unit a little better, but as far as the mods themselves, protection, health, okay, protection, speed with some protection. I think this is a pretty solid set. I think you know what you're going for in terms of speed. It'd be nice for some of these secondaries to be 25 plus instead of 20 or 23, but I know you're working on that. And then you just did the comparison. Here, let's have a look. Okay. So, yeah, 185k is pretty solid. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to see him 350 plus, so it's not that much more to push him up over that edge, and it's not it's not too tough to be closer off to 200,000 for protection. Not that you need that, but that's where I find mine to be, and I didn't put a special huge amount of effort into that. The harder thing to do is to stack offense in there, because he does do a surprising amount of damage. Not at first, but as the fight progresses. And yeah, pretty good set though. Nothing wrong with it, man. Good question. All right. Star Wars Nerd says, Rogue One or Ahsoka, what would you prefer watching with the missus? Mrs. T would not have the patience for Rogue One. She's not really much into Star Wars, first of all, and second, she's not super into drawn out intrigue, you know, which is what makes intrigue so good, is how it is drawn out and how, you know, it eventually evolves. And yeah, neither of those things are really her dig, so out of those choices, it would have to be Ahsoka. Vinal Tabi says, Jabba on defense with support cron or attacker cron? Mine is a support cron. I'll show you mine. Where is it? It's this one. Some health, a lot of potency, and some crit damage. Long tech support level 6, dark side. You could have the amplified agony level 3, but I think I just like the speed better. And that's enough for me. You a fan of OG Malgus Basic 2? Attack. Just unlocked my first GL. Slacker says dances with Ewoks. I'm in Bronzium 2. Should I use him on offense or on defense? Oh. So Slacker is kind of like a solution to every problem. There's very few teams that he cannot kill. And so if you are finding that you are losing matches because you can't kill a Rey Swolo Ezra, you can't kill a Pirate King Hondo team, stuff like that. If you're getting jammed up and you're, and that's an issue for you, keep him for offense. Otherwise, you might try your hand in having him on defense. Yeah. Your task would be to ideally draw out Jedi Master Kenobi, JMK, ahead of Slacker that you've got cleverly tucked on the back wall, because JMK is by far the most reliable counter to Slacker. There's others. You could use Bane. And you could use JML. And certainly with these role-based Datacrons, anything goes. Maybe some of these counters that I'm thinking of as being more sketchy are in fact pretty easy. That could be the case. All right, Reds fan says, my Iden Versio is ranked first in the world in potency. Do you have any tunes ranked first in a stat? I want to say I do. It was a few weeks ago. But I want to say I think I had the world's fastest Star Killer and the world's healthiest Bastila Fallen. I think so. Yeah. If Dagger and TJ were to be matched in GAC, who would you root for? You can't root for both. I think by default I would pretty much have to root for TJ because, yeah, Dagger's generally rooting against me, and it wouldn't seem right to root for him, I mean, you have to serve him what he himself dishes up. Surely he appreciates it just as much as he enjoys handing it out, right? Right. All right, Yeah. Reds fan says, I'm 0-1 versus Aerith, 0-2 versus Sunjita, 0-1 versus Vexatron, 0-1 versus SB Shirts. I keep losing to YouTube streamers. Well, I mean, study their VODs, man. Be better prepared next time. Scout, there's something to do. There's things to do. Rockgunner says, I feel like the highest stats for most good tunes aren't usually the best players because there are almost always multiple important stats. That's actually very much the case, Rockgunner. If you're looking up for any given character, who's got the most this or that, it is not typically the case that the top people, or even the top few people, like even the top 5 or 10, are actually players inside the top 50. Of the game. Just a lot of people are fans of certain characters, or they do actually have them tricked out for some practical use, but there's just a lot of people that like tricking out a certain character to the max in a certain way, and that gets them to be number 1 on the leaderboard for that character, and that works for them. There are a lot of people that do that. Most people that are doing that are not people that are at the top of the game. Yeah. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed your question earlier, Rockgunner. Another Balin question. Which one of the 2 attackers is a higher priority for offense and crit damage? Shin is the main damage driver of the team. We just exited a Datacron meta where Marok was doing huge damage from that Cron. So you might have been thinking that was the main powerhouse, but it is mostly Shin. So if one of those 2 has to get the love, that would be the one. Yeah, that's right, Steve. I'm always happy to coach people about mods, but that is why I made the How to Mod series, the 3-part series on YouTube. For people really wanting to know how to build up a great mod collection from scratch, how to separate the wheat from the chaff, how to be just as efficient as you can possibly be with using your materials to produce the most number of high-quality mods ASAP, I stand by that series. Months out. It is my magnum opus about teaching everything I know about modding. What is my worst misplay that basically threw a match away? Oh, it had to be... I know it was kind of recent. I think I did it on stream. Just some type of dumbass, boneheaded shit. Like the type of thing where you take regular Bo-Katan Kryze instead of BKM as the lead. It wasn't exactly that error, but it was an error of that type. And it's like, as soon as... Oh, you know what it was? It was misassigning a team. I meant to take Malgus against Great Mothers, and instead I kind of just brain farted and absentmindedly took it in against a Riva team that was right next to it. And that threw off the whole match. That was a few matches ago. That was against Herbert. And yeah, that one kind of had me grinding my teeth. Yeah. Rock Gunner. My Marok is in weird mods. Crit damage set with offense triangle because I don't have that many good crit damage triangles. I guess it's not the end of the world. Until you had a crit damage triangle on there, he would do just fine in an offense set, or you can make that just an offense triangle. Like, I want to say I have something like 55% special crit chance in the mods that I have him in, and then he gets enough crit chance from what do you call it, Soldier of Fortune, that puts him at a pretty high value from there. So if you're too much lower than 55% base special crit chance, yeah, I would maybe consider going into an offense primary. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll answer your question when we come back from ads, Star Wars Nerd. I won't leave you frozen out. Reds fan asks, do I buy in-game gift packs as gifts to guildies? No, not really. Not especially, man. All right. Where was I? That was the last one, right? All of them. We'll do a half and half. Okay, Star Wars Nerd, your question was, can I make a how-to farm Datacron series? There are some generically good tips I could share, but your needs for a given Datacron set actually kind of vary from set to set. And I think your own experience would kind of bear that out, right? Like, think about how in the last few Datacron sets, how some of them are more focused on what the level 3s bring, whether that's bulk, turn meter, amplify agony, stuff like that. Or some metas are more like this one, which is role-based. You know, it's not always a role-based level 6, but they could be more about the level 6, the factional ability. You know, like the Jedi Vanguard Crons, or Resistance Crons, or Sith Crons, stuff like that. And then there are some metas that are very much defined by the level 9 abilities that the Datacrons give. So the way that you prioritize raising up a Cron when you know that you need it for its level 9 is going to be different than if you're churning through them, seeking out certain level 3s or 6s, right? And intuitively, I think you can recognize that. So there's definitely some generically good advice out there to give. But, yeah. That's closer. Does chat want Asmer Dagger tonight? What is that? I'm afraid of what that means. Is this a sex thing, Dagger? I don't think the people are into that. I'm the people. All right, Red Powered says, what would be your go-to counter for Relic 10 Rey with the wordy level 6 attacker Cron? Yeah, Leia Drogon R2 with the Jawa Cron is what I used in my one and only fight. This week. Or this last week, yeah. No, I'm afraid to know what you think your Asmer is. I'm afraid to know what you think your Asmer voice sounds like, Dagger. That's the issue. That's what makes me shudder. Vin Altavi says, I know that you take notes for all your battles. What exactly are you writing down? So obviously I'm writing down what they have, what I use to counter it, but then especially if I drop, I'll make notes about why it is that I dropped. Especially if there, if I have to say that there were successive attempts, I'll say what happened in each attempt. Very seldom will I make a note on an attack. If it was something really exceptional, that like unintuitive about how that attack had to go, I would make a note about it. An example of that, a recent example would be, if you look at my history, I took out a Tusken team with an attacker cron on it using just Tarkin and Scorch. And part of why that went so easily for me is that I deliberately did not use Scorch's taunt on his first turn, knowing that Warrior would dispel it pretty much immediately. So I waited until his second turn to do that. That meant that Tarkin took a bit of punishment, but his protection up saved him. We were easily able to stabilize and finish for max banners in the end. But that's the type of thinking just a little outside of the normal sequence that I would take a note on an exceptional attack. So that's all in my spreadsheet. And if you look at the Grand Arena chat channel on my Discord, if you look at the pinned messages, I have a permalink to my spreadsheet. So if you ever wanted to see my own notes, those are actually a public resource, season over season. So it's up to you if you want to take a look at them. Rockgunner says, do you think any of this set's focus datacrons are worth using with their quote-unquote intended teams, or are they just better for stats and maybe one tune mechanic? I think the Boba team is interesting in 3 vs 3 in the sense that, yes, you could maybe 58 or 59 it with Malgus, but what if you're able to otherwise draw Malgus? Otherwise in 3s, maybe not so interesting. The HK Cron is kind of cool for the Poe ability. Its usefulness in 3 vs 3, I'm not necessarily convinced of. Because, again, if you looked at my history from last week, I was able to Balin solo using my own HK Cron just for the defense on the stat. And I was able to solo Finn, Zori, and OG Poe with that OG Poe Fear Cron. It took a while to do. Balin almost died a couple of times. I'm not saying it wasn't without risk or it wasn't sketchy, but it was doable, and I think we'd all agree that's kind of whack that I was able to just kind of 59 that. So Rex Crex 5s, that's another one that you can Malgus, going towards the, aforementioned you can only Malgus one thing point. And then the Phasmacron is probably the single weakest in terms of its abilities. Yeah, I feel like if you're an earlier game player and you're getting into Datacrons, maybe that's who that's for. Early mid-game where these characters are characters that you have, because you have to, but are probably disused. So, yeah.
Any thoughts? Really good for Bane.
Sorry?
The stat profile on this Phasmacron is really good for Bane.
Sure, yeah. It wasn't about whether or not any of these focus datacrons were useful. The question was, are they useful for their abilities? For their quote-unquote intended teams. And I don't really think that Phasma one is the case.
That was my answer to the question.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You're welcome, Aoi. You're welcome.
Mm-hmm. You think the Darth Nihilus bonus is better for using as the crown with Traya? No, not really. I'm not that impressed by it, to be honest.
You have to enable his attacking out of turn for it to do anything.
Which is very uncommon outside of using it with Sith Eternal, which, again, I'm just not wowed by as an idea. So what's going on, Dagger? Are we having Asmer Dagger tonight? Did you blow out your yelling voice earlier with the kids or what?
No, there's just people sleeping. So we got a chateau. So it's kind of a small house, and there's a lot of people in this small house. And the screen door here doesn't have an actual door that closes, so to speak. So you can hear pretty well from the bedroom what's going on the porch. So I'm just trying to keep my voice down while I'm out here on my laptop.
Okay.
And I was watching you out here on my laptop because, my family spent 6 hours today swimming, so they're all exhausted and they all crashed.
Fine.
And while they were doing that, I was making dinner. So I'm not saying I have a ton of energy left because it's 11 p.m. here and I'm a little jet lagged, but I got enough energy to spend some time here with you if you're okay with this version of me.
Yeah, well, we can take some more questions. I've already done my my TB, so it's really up to you guys now. Whatever you guys want to talk about, if you have some more questions, we'll go ahead and keep the chat open, me and Dagger. Otherwise, yeah, whenever we kind of run out of stuff to talk about, we'll look to close the stream down. What is my best TW win ever for my guild? Jeez. I don't know. I guess the better way for me to process that question was, when was the last time there was a TW win that mattered to me, that I cared about? And
the first time VG beat Wolfpack.
I want to say it was the first time VG beat one of the Maws when I was in. Maybe that was moments. I don't know, but that's so very, very, very long ago. And TW is really just not very important to me. So, Dagger, how about you? What do you say?
I said it wasn't for me personally, but I was in Vanguard with you at the time. The first time that VG beat Wolfpack was probably the most pumped I'd ever seen a guild. That being said, like you said, TW doesn't really matter, so I would say, sort of in the spirit of the question, but not quite, I would say that the best wins we have in TW are the ones where we fight people who try to fight us, which are few and far between. So right now, it's basically just whenever I fight Tass's guild.
Fair.
So, but yeah, it's been a couple years. I would say for me personally, it was, probably that war where Chromium ate shit on our Ray wall in Zone 2, and we cheesed them. Like you said, back in the VG days, because I was in that war room, and that was a fun one to plan. And they assumed that we set super heavy, so they chose a cheaper counter and completely ate shit. And then we set nothing behind it. That's probably my favorite. But like Tess said, I haven't really cared in 2 years outside of just talking shit.
Sure. I'm switching over the stream now to be Teamfight Tactics. Since I'm doing that on the side. All right.
Oh, when I get back, Tess, we gotta watch basketball again because the NBA Cup is coming up. Or it's about to end.
Yeah, Reds fan. Vanguard of Desader seems insanely strong in TW. Yeah, they are doing it.
We are the best right now. To Rock Gunner, for Dagger, how often do you face TW opponents who have a real chance of beating you guys? The answer that I would give to not make enemies would be 3 guilds. The answer that I will give for how much our war room seems to put in effort that they tell us about, like remods, asks, stuff like that, it's 1. Sorry.
Wolfman, would you want an updated TW that somehow makes it competitive if the rewards stayed the same?
No. No, I would want rewards. I lived through the gauntlet when it existed and was really good. and that was a lot of fun. I would not want TW to be competitive again without some kind of rewards or reward bump. The rewards right now are just so bad.
Sure.
I'm not answering that question, Rock Gunner. You can talk to my TW staff. I will refer you to Spock.
Yeah, what guild do you enjoy doing TW with out of all the guilds you've been in? Yeah, I'll let that be also another dagger question. I don't really care. Sometimes I get 5 brains at the end of the TW, and sometimes I don't. And that's as much as I care about TW.
I would say the favorite time I've ever been in a war room was, unironically, my 7th month stint in TI when it was dying. Because I ended up being able to play with most of my friends there. As far as competitive TWs go, VG by far before the Maw merger. That was probably at the end of every war you had 35 to 45 people on voice chat just waiting, because we had out of our 12 wars, 9 of them were real. I would say that's probably the best experience I've had in TW.
Yeah.
Not that there aren't others, but the guild-wide, everyone bought in.
Yeah, exactly, Ali Hero. Now that brains are so much more accessible, TW's even less important to me than ever in terms of the amount that I personally am interested in it. I mean, I still do everything that's required for a TW guild. I just, whatever the outcome is, I'm sure I'll be able to compensate regardless.
Honestly, Reds fan, I don't think there's a number of droid brains you could put into TW to make the top end guilds give a shit. About the rewards, I mean. It's not the droid brains they care about. Triple the number of reroll materials, something like that, right? If I got 300 of the Mark III rerolls, I'll bet you people would give a shit about TW really quick. If you change, okay, under the premise that they're going to change TW to make it more competitive, I would absolutely want something like doubling or tripling the reroll materials, or like Carthage just said, Relic 11 going there. But there's no amount of droid brains that would convince the majority of the top guilds to give a shit more than they already do.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, Heratran, Dagger did pop in for a bit.
I think the best part about this entire time I'm here is that I'm the only one with a screen outside of a phone.
What do you mean?
The kids are there's no TVs.
Oh, I see.
Heratran, you missed it. I took one shot at CU and TW, that's it. Honestly, the biggest thing I would want to see them do in TW is lower the zones numbers and expand the board size. So for example, 40 teams per zone, but then expand it to 3 fleet zones and 15 ground zones, and then have 1 TW per TW cycle. Something like that. Have the TW actually last 72 hours kind of thing. I don't know. I don't really think it's like GAC. You can't expand the board too much without expanding the amount of time you get. Yeah, Hera, like a week long TW, one day join, and then 2 days to set defense, and then 3 days to attack. Yeah, and then you can add you can make it as big as you want. Then again, my whole point is I just don't think that in the current way that PvP is set up that there is a reasonable way to rework either GAC or TW, and it will just require basically an overhaul. Worth mentioning that if Tass does lose more in a row, he does get more points for losing in a row as long as he doesn't go too far down. See that little blue streak next to his gold there?
Mm-hmm.
I did hear that this set's really good.
It's very fun so far. I'm enjoying it.
I might look into it when I get back because I also have the rest of the year off when I get back.
Yeah.
Signal data is not a bottleneck for me specifically, although I do acknowledge that it is a bottleneck for the majority of people, even at my level.
Yeah, it's one of the only remaining late game bottlenecks. But that's okay. I don't feel like it's an oppressive bottleneck.
Rock Gunner, I'm in a 450 million guild that wins a ton, and it's actually a pretty nice infusion of resources, though less so with the changes. Yeah, I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Rock Gunner, but I'm not sure. The practical usable resources outside of Droid Brains, because wasn't it like 2 or 3 arrows per TW win? And then like 5 Droid Brains per win. I'm not saying that there aren't resources there, but the reroll materials are the only thing I really care about from TW these days, and has been for like the last year.
Ooh, Reds fan asks, what's the best in-game pack you've ever bought from CG? I recall buying a pack for 20 to 30 that was meant to be sold for way more money, but CG messed up. Probably the first time I bought one of the big $200 packs for the Omicrons, because I felt like I was impossibly behind forever on Omicrons, and that felt like I really turned a corner the day that I first bought one of those.
I will say that if we're not talking about the Hyperdrive bundle specifically, because I think for most players that have been playing as long as Tass and I, that was the number one value purchase we've ever made. I think outside of that, I remember what he's talking about. There was a bug for $20 where it's supposed to be like a $50 pack, and that $50 pack was supposed to be like a ridiculous value just for 50. And then that was the one, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but was that the one where iOS users got it for 20, and then they ran it again for everyone to have it for 20?
Yeah, guilty. This is it's an auto chess game called Teamfight Tactics. It's made by League of Legends. It's using their art assets and stuff, but it's kind of a game where you're, buying and placing units, and then this is like a phase where you're setting up, and then there's a combat phase where they fight each other, and depending on how you've positioned them, upgraded them, equipped them, that determines how they go and fight each other, and that's how the game's done.
Yeah, Heratran said it in chat. The two biggest bottlenecks that they'll probably won't alleviate anytime soon are signal data and shards.
Yeah, Rock Gunner, you say that you're a pretty small account, so you're not used to R8ing that many things. Well, the good news is the changes they've made to the economy will allow you to R8 more things than ever before. You can just straight up make materials to R8 in a way that you couldn't before. You can pick and choose how you want to go about it.
I think my favorite part about this update is that it further made TB an irrelevant game mode, and then just like completely dunked TW out of anybody giving a shit. Because not that there was a ton of value to TB anyways, but now TB is basically just put in your 6 days of work for like 1,200 crystals and go fuck yourself. And TW is like, here's some Mark III reroll materials and nothing else. Unless you need Zetas.
You wish Zetas would be a bit more abundant, says Heratran. Yeah, man, it's been a long time since I was in the Zeta crunch.
I think, well, okay, not to do the back in my day thing, but man, they are. They are. I remember having like 2 Zetas on my GLs, man. They are way more. They could be more. I'm not trying to argue that. I'm just, man. You used to get 3 a month, and then 4 characters a month plus a journey guide character every 3 months. Man, you used to naturally not get enough Zetas for all the characters they released, and now you're getting something like 6 or 7 a month, 8 a month, something like that. It's kind of ridiculous now.
Fair.
That being said, for someone to catch up, it would take fucking forever. So I do agree in that aspect that now that Omicrons are the bottleneck, I don't see a real reason why you shouldn't just flood Zetas.
Yeah, Wolfman, have either of you met another Swugga player IRL by chance, for example, at work? Not at work, but I actually have a family member via marriage that plays Swugga, and we just kind of organically found out about it. My father passed some years ago. My mother remarried in the years since, so my mother's new husband does play Swugga from time to time, but he's more like, collector, very casual player. And then I've met in all places, like getting a new phone at my Verizon store. Somebody played Swugga, and we ended up striking up a conversation about it. That's a couple times in real life where that has happened.
Yeah, outside of the guy who got me into it, and a few friends that I've gotten into it by showing them a Star Wars game that's not shit. To Tass's point, I think 3 people I've ran into IRL that played. I back before COVID, I used to do the park and ride to go to work. Just because it was more efficient for my time, in the sense that I played mobile games, so I could just do those on the way and not have to worry about traffic. So, there was one person on the bus once that I met who saw me like doing dailies or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, da da da." We just like started up a conversation because I guess he had been playing for like a little bit. Just in the conversation, very quickly found out that like he doesn't log in every day, so casual, kind of nothing wrong with that, but a casual player. And then I found out at a restaurant that our server played once because I had my phone out on the thing and I was autoing the back end of a Leviathan fight. And as he was walking away, he just kind of like leaned over and he's like, "Leviathan mirrors suck, huh?" I'm like, and I just smile and nod. It was fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've had a couple, but only the one person I've had a conversation with. Although I think there've been a couple others who have acknowledged the game, so to speak. So the third one I was gonna say is somebody. I was like, it was years ago. I was like waiting for the bus or something. And somebody like came up and was like, "I love that game." That was it.
Nice. Back.
But yeah, there's some chance whatevers. There's some chance encounters that have come up in my life about the game.
Empire Lifts Back says, "What up, Tassenix? My coworkers got me back into the game." Yeah, man, all's good over here. We just finished doing TB. Now doing some what do you call this? Team fight tactics. Just killing time, chatting with Dagger.
Yeah, I mean, I feel myself. Yeah, it's feeling myself. Not super tired, but I am feeling it a little bit now. So I don't know how long I'll be here.
Mm-hmm.
Probably like another 20-30 minutes or so. If you go that long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this whole Eastern time zone thing sucks. I don't know how you guys do it.
It's my life.
Yeah.
What we do here. Yeah. You see, is
so
different. Go ahead, Dagger.
Oh, I was just say, Ahsoka early seems interesting. What was the reason for getting Ahsoka early?
Who we asking?
Rock Gunner. He said he got Ahsoka pretty early. I guess that's fair. Oh, Howie with a good question. Do you guys like yogurt?
Good question.
Well, we always have yogurt in the house. It's not always for me, but I have been known to enjoy a froyo from time to time in the summer. But I personally have not eaten a ton of yogurt. Actually, that's not true. I should eat yogurt every day for my gut health. I do not because I don't like yogurt. But I get bugged 3 to 5 times a week about that. Do you remember to eat your yogurt? And I just usually lie at this point. But we just got some protein Greek yogurt that tastes okay, so I might eat more yogurt. I just don't like the texture. It's somewhere between like a viscous. It's viscous, but it's not. I don't know. It's not thick enough. Feels like I'm eating melted ice cream.
Yeah, that is not an appetizing visual.
Yeah.
What is my most recent 20+ speed mod, says Reds fan. I just got a speed health triangle with 22 speed. Now am I Ezra exiled? Wow, something really fast that I pulled up? Probably look at the square on my Galactic Legend Leia. It's a 28 speed health square. That's my latest triumph of speed.
That reminds me, if you check my Leia, I just finished attenuating the triangle and the arrow.
Yeah.
So it's a 29 speed health triangle, or a 28 speed. Maybe it's the other way around. One of them's 28, one of them's 29 speed from the arrow and the triangle.
Ooh. I like it.
Super pumped about that. I'm also trying to move my C into a defense set, which sucks.
Hey.
Not that C in a defense set sucks, just trying to find the high speed and health secondaries for the defense set sucks.
Get it.
Yeah, Howie, that's kind of where I'm at. Is I've gotten to the point in my life where I don't necessarily have to like the things I eat. I just have to eat better. So, turns out all the things I like aren't particularly good for me. So, what about you, Tass? Do you like yogurt? Does your family eat a lot of yogurt?
I don't really eat a lot of yogurt, no. And also, I think Greek yogurt is disgusting. Fight me if you disagree, people.
It's because of the protein and the whatever. It's health.
It's because it's just gross. I have a
No, I'm
functional
saying
tongue.
that. Yeah, I'm not arguing with you. I'm saying that the only reason I eat it is for health reasons.
Yeah.
And we just got a blueberry one, and I do like me some blueberries. And we just got some, and the farmer's market near our house, they usually have blueberries, so I'll probably end up getting to pick up some more blueberries. And then I'll eat more yogurt. I can say all this because she's not awake to scold me for saying that I don't eat it.
Checks
Right?
out.
It's that Key and Peele sketch.
Mhm.
I said, bitch.
Come on, monitor, finish your restart cycle so I don't have to play this game through OBS.
Yeah, Allie, I think speed is severely overrated these days. And when I say severely overrated, I mean I think too many people slice away good stats looking for speed. I think if a lot of people just left their mods alone that are like 21, 20, they're like 4 rolls, 21 speed with other good secondaries. I watched somebody roll an offense percent off looking for speed. Like, are you outside your damn mind? Not saying that speed isn't king, but I think people dedicate too many resources to making fast mods when you should just make good mods, and then eventually some of your good mods will be fast. Especially for like newer or mid-game players. I wouldn't focus on keeping like any resources you put into a mod. You're like, it's finite. So if you put a bunch of resources into a mod with like 3 flat stats and speed, you're gonna be, Oh yeah, Howie, but that's a newer thing. There's lots of people who never believed in defense, and they were always wrong. Fatal like kind of championed it recently, but yeah, defense has always been good. People just don't want to admit it.
Some people are butts at this game.
Yeah, I mean, defense has been good since Relic 7 came out. Like, percent stats. No, Howie, you remember a time when dumb people said the defense percent was not good. In fact, I've stand for flat defense before. Flat defense is not nearly as bad as people think it is. I mean, it's less good than defense percent on like R7 to R7 plus characters, stuff like that. But physical attackers have disproportionately low resistance frequently, so getting a couple rolls in defense and flat defense will generally jack up their resistance by like 3 to 5 points, which is actually pretty good.
A Rock Gunner says, Tass's guide was super enlightening to me because it was my first exposure to the idea that I should specifically care about other good secondaries. Yeah, I mean, for at least the first, few years of mods, people telling you to go strictly for speed were largely correct. The game hinged a lot more in older times around who went first. And fortunately, the game has progressed in such a way that, there's a lot more nuance to setting up your teams than just merely who goes ahead of who for the majority of matchups.
Funny because I would say turn order matters more nowadays than raw speed.
Well, I mean, I think that's pedantic. I mean, it meant the same thing at the time.
No, what I'm saying is that it used to be whoever I'm talking about, like on your team. For example, Hux and First Order Officer used to be in speed sets, but they never needed to be in speed sets. It was just easier to toggle their speed when they were in speed sets. Right? That's kind of what I mean.
Well, thank God, my monitor's back.
Yeah, that too, Owie. Like, Datacrons went a long way to making speed less important. I would say that speed is still, like, the heaviest weighted stat. Followed by offense percent, probably followed by either crit chance or defense percent. People sleep on crit chance a lot. Crit chance is, you were talking earlier about how special damage dealers should be somewhere around like 70, and it should really like 85% on special damage dealers these days. Like, you need to jack like 60% crit chance onto those bitches.
I didn't want to make a statement so strong because I think for these cases that you're thinking of, there's usually other effects mitigating the amount of crit chance actually required.
I mean, my statements require some amount of nuance for people knowing kits. Yeah, like Padawan Obi-Wan giving crit chance up, which is 25%. So as long as you get your Master Qui-Gon up to like 70 to 73%, he'll be around, 95, 98. But that's still adding like 40% crit chance.
Mm-hmm.
But most special damage dealers, you should just default to an offense triangle. It's easier that way. Come back to them later when you're trying to min-max their crit chance secondaries.
These views are strange and make me feel uncomfortable. I don't like them.
What are strange?
The views you just expressed.
Which one specifically?
Very last thing you just said. Weirdo.
What did I just say? I said like 3 things.
Last sentence.
I don't know what order my thoughts came out of my head in.
Alright, fine.
Which thought of mine did you think was weird?
One that I don't remember now because I'm focused on my game.
Was it that I think crit chance is just as important as defense percent? Was it
No, something else.
Oh.
Sorry, I can't be more helpful.
Oh, I bet it was the offense triangle thing, right?
Oh, yes, it was. That disgusted me. I hated it.
Yeah, I mean, the average person is not going to have a 40 to 50% crit chance to jam on a character, so if you have a special damage dealer, I would just put an offense triangle on it and then revisit it later. I don't think that's a very controversial statement. If you have the crit chance secondary, both. Look, I don't have to take this. Man, we're on Discord. We're on streaming shit. I would have said something if we were on Discord. But let's just say, I know some of the things you put in your mouth, and I don't think you're in a position to say that this is gross. To be clear, we're talking about pen caps and buttons.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Fru, hey, to Cobb. I did ping both of you, and neither one of you got back to me, so here I am here.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the end of this one.
Owie asks, do you guys have a preference of 25% TM or bulk crons, or just circumstantial?
Usually
I think-
I bias for bulk, and then I pick up 25% turn meter as I can think of teams that really want it. Like, I feel like bulk is the default choice.
Yeah, I was gonna say, on defense, I think bulk is better. On offense, I think with attacker crons, you want, if you can go first, as well as have attacker crons, it makes life a lot easier. Which is why you want the bulk crons on defense. My opinion. There are obviously some, like, I've come to realize through that first week of GAC that your Ray Cron should have a 25% TM on it. Because otherwise, Starkiller is doing a pretty good job of those who know how to do it, of beating Ray-Ban Ezra. I saw a couple videos of it, and yeah, if you still have your Starkiller faster than your Mara Jade, it's not a very difficult fight. Also, frequently, Leia's going to take a bulk cron so that their Drogon doesn't get randomly deleted. In which case, you also want turn meter on your Rey, I believe.
I'm going to step away for just a minute. I'm going to leave you guys with Dagger for just a moment. I'll be right back.
Well, that was your first mistake. Well, not your first, but your most recent. But yeah, I do think that in general you want to default to bulk on defense, turn meter on offense, unless there are specific matchups where you want it one way or the other. Nice, yeah, that's great. And to answer your question, Decab, you didn't respond whether or not you wanted to play a game. You just said you got home. So I don't count that as a response when you're... See, this would just be like if I asked my girlfriend, hey, do you want to watch a movie? And her response was, I'm in the bedroom, or I'm in the living room. That's not a response. Like, you said something, but it wasn't a response. It's one of those things where you answered a question, but not the one I asked. No, it was an answer to a question, just not the one I asked. A non sequitur, if you will. Oh, nice, Red Fan. Yeah. Thankfully, that CU and VDO both banned that stupid cheese thing, even if it does get patched, or if it doesn't get patched, whatever. However that's phrased. People in CU are good people. The people telling them the R10 their Ahsokas aren't good people, but the players are good people.
All right, we're back.
No, that's fair to Cobb. I definitely was still available. And still technically am. I tried. I can't get Baldur's Gate to work on my laptop. I did try, because I saw you were online.
Howie says, question, would you want the Spiderlegs Mall event to run longer than others so people can make a more informed decision if it's worth to get or not? Haven't they already made it clear about like when you can...
running for like a month.
Huh?
It's gonna be running for like a month.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna unlock Maul with like the 4th character or the 5th character or something. Yeah. We're gonna have the Maul event for like a month. But yeah, I was talking earlier. I guess the conversation bears repeating here to a degree. I'm mostly just a little nervous slash worried about how they're going to handle 7-star mall unlock, considering I guess they've confirmed that there's going to be a era level requirement. And normally they want you to have R5 to R7 characters unlock the Journey Guide character, and level 90 is R5. And that makes me a little nervous about 7-star Mall if they're going to try to lock it behind level 90 era battle, or at level 90 era.
Yeah, but that concern is based on extrapolate.
Yeah, but even if it's 75, that's like an extra 25 to $50 per character upcharge.
Yeah, now that could be a real problem.
Yeah, that's all. That's kind of what I'm saying is, that's why I just kind of wanted to touch on it here a little bit, because if you're going to get them all year 12 at level 65, and they've already kind of said that that's going to be the case, I am nervous about what they're going to require for 7 stars. And with the event being open for like a month.
Mm-hmm.
Although it looks like the mall event's going to close when the era closes, so mall goes playable the same time the 6 marquees do. So there won't be any overlap with the next era. So
sounds good.
The way I would personally prefer it is if you got the 6 marquees and then you use those marquees to unlock the character of the next era. But that doesn't monetize it as much.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think that Coliseum itself is enough of a, how do you call it, that? So a reward pinata?
A loot pinata, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, loot pinata.
Very much so.
Yeah, and I think that that's enough to drain the spenders of money to compete with one another to try to get more R10s. Because I personally think R10 is a good enough incentive for the majority of people, and those who don't need R10s yet, they're still incentivized to push for those Lightspeed tokens, which are really good, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Like free R5 characters from not unlocked is really cool.
Yep. Rock Gunner says, is there a consensus on the best way to push Coliseum free-to-play? Ultimately, it's tied to the amount of money people in your shard are willing to spend. It's pretty reasonable to expect that you're going to have folks that were going to spend for the character shards anyway, so that they get, the 6 stars, 10 shards, so that at the end of the marquee week for that character, they've got them unlocked at 7 stars. So you can assume that's going to be a baseline for anybody that's going to be inside the top 10. The question is, how much higher do you need to go over that in the era system? Dagger and others have said, you can get up, you're meant to get up to level 65 completely free to play by CG's own statement. How much higher your characters need to be above that is really determined by the whales in your shard. If they, it is possible to be level 70 on day 1 of the release of a new character, like level 70 era level on that new character. And my source for that claim is that I've done it on both of the characters so far. And I am in that top 10. And there are a couple of people, like around, 8, 9, 10, that are able to be inside the top 10 and get the same rewards as me without having spent what I've spent. So that's really the point. Like, you need to take a look at what your shard is. You need to take a look at the era levels of the characters. For the people that are, at the top 10, number 1 out of the top 10, and then take a look at what the era levels are for the guy that's at number 10, right? See what that range looks like, and then make a decision.
Yeah, whereas my leaderboard, I have 8 people who are already in tier 7. So I am literally fighting for like the 9th and 10th spot every day.
Yeah, I'll show you what I've got going.
So it all just kind of depends on, and for what it's worth, when I'm looking at my, so the guy right ahead of me has a level 80 Stormtrooper Luke and a level 77 IG-90, and we have 4 people with over level 80 on both. So yeah, it kind of just depends on your shard. I know in my shard, if you're not, hold on, how far down can I scroll here? Leaderboard. Oh, I can go to 50. Cool. Level 50 in my shard has a level 54 Luke and a level 48 IG-90. So if you are not roughly level 50 on both, you are not sniffing the top 50 of my shard. Just to kind of give you an idea of my shard specifically.
Yeah, Tailspin says, I'm towards the bottom of my top 10, and I'm at level 45 on both for era levels. So that's a pretty nice shard to be in then, man. It sounds a lot less bitterly competitive than most.
I have a level 75 Luke and 67 IG, and yeah, I'm fighting for 9th, 10th. Well, it's technically 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. Because the other 6 people are in tier 7. At like 85 plus. But that being said, top 50, if you're willing to throw a few bucks at the game, is probably not bad. And even if you're not top 50, it all just depends on how badly you believe that you need R10. That's really all you're fighting for.
Most people do not need them. Certainly, if they do need them, they don't need them in quantity.
Well, to be fair, neither Tass nor I need.
Nope.
In the second.
No, I disagree. I have nothing left to care about. It's the only thing left. I care about them a lot.
Okay. Well, when I say need, I mean they're not generating matchup swings that will win or lose you a gag.
Don't listen to Dagger. Surely, if I get enough of them and stack whole 5 versus 5 teams packed with Relic 10s, it will all add up to being something. That's the cope.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I did buy R10s. I'm not here trying to pretend like I did. I'm simply saying that need is such a demonstrably is a word. Yeah, it's just a very silly way to say need. I just did what my guild told me, and then just did some fun ones. Pick out ones to get banned.
Nike Cat says, I'm free to play and I've been finishing top 90 or better. Glad to hear it, man. Awesome. And that's the thing. Like, the only reason any of you have to care about Coliseum is really, the amount of resources you want to spend for Coliseum is the answer to the question, how often do I want to be able to apply a Relic 10?
And honestly, every time I'm asked for advice on R10, my response is, until you have 4 or 5 in the bank, don't place any. It's really shitty advice, but
it is.
That's where most people should be.
Highly controversial.
Eventually they'll be required. And if your guild doesn't have R10 requirements, there are yet to be any R10s so far in the game that will win or lose you a gag. In fact, there's only one R10 that will be like plus 2 or 3 banners.
Yeah, I just took the highest score, Dagger. I'm a big kid now. You see that? You see that? I'm on top of the leaderboard. You proud of me, Dad? Dad?
I'll tell you the same thing that your dad told you. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Oh. I thought it was going to be, we're walking home, I'm too drunk to drive.
No, your dad never said that once.
Yeah, no, he definitely never opted to walk. I'll tell you that.
Sorry. No.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Chippy Chipperson, you guys do need R10. What else are you gonna? Where else are you gonna? No, it's not. See, you guys, you're
It's true.
misunderstanding, Chippy. I'm simply saying that there's a lot of things in this game that you need, but R10s aren't swinging GACs. So they're just a nice to have. And yeah, it's the only thing to chase right now, but we talked about on plotting and scheming. R11 is going to matter a whole shit ton more than R10.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason why you want to have R10s banked. Is because when R11 comes out, you want to take you're going to want to take characters to R11, and then there's going to be R10 requirements for events. So that's why I said the shitty answer about these R10 tokens is that you just want to bank them until you have a few in the bank.
Yeah, spoke of gameplay. I think the easy way to fix the Omega Vader is that Bad Batch allies won't go into captive if it's not a full Bad Batch team. That's one of any number of ways they might fix it. So,
or you can just alignment lock Darth Vader. That one works too.
Or you could just alignment lock the Kron, or
because I think that's the easy fix. That's the coward's way out. The same way that Relic Delta was the coward's way out. Why actually fix the game when you can band-aid it? Exactly, Nike Cat.
To be fair,
R10.
If the Band-Aid meant that this specific issue was corrected and us getting that particular fix was the fix that we could get tomorrow as opposed to a week from tomorrow, I'll take the solution that comes out tomorrow.
Yeah. For what it's worth, Nike Cat, that's really smart. 2.5 R10 in the bank, waiting for important unit requirements. Yes. Rock Gunner, what I would say is once you have somewhere between 3 and 5 banked, you can start Ray's the only one, only GL I recommend right now. Because everything about her scales, her ult, her whirlwind, just her bulk, just everything scales. And then past that, you only want to put R10 on characters you plan to immediately R11, and that list is pretty short. Darth Revan's a quality of life R10, but not particularly amazing. Ezra's a very good R10 because he's going to be a very good R11. But those are the only 3 that I think that I would even Oh, and JML's really good, but it depends on what you are asking him to do. And if you're not asking him to beat Ezra in 5s, I just don't think an R10 JML is really worth it, considering the coin is based off of the relic level of the person being coined. So that would be my recommendation. Darth Revan has quality of life, Rey just for her power, and Ezra just for utility. Outside of those 3, look, I'm not trying to talk shit about any R9 and any R10s anyone's done. I just don't think that there are any that are really worth it, that are game changing or matchup changing.
Fair. All right, guys, it has been a good long stream. It's getting close to midnight, and your boy still has work in the AM. So we're going to get ready to wind this one down. But before I go ahead and get ready to close things, Dagger, thanks for dropping in. Do you have anything you wanted to say to the people before we part ways?
Yeah. If you have the opportunity, take a vacation without your family. Because it's not a vacation for you, it's a vacation for them. And you end up working the whole time.
And what's important is that he's not bitter about that. And I think that really can't be overstated.
Dude, vacation's more stress than not being on vacation. I fucking hate it. Can't afford Disney, so here we are.
All right. And what's your next Relic 10 and why is it General Skywalker?
It's not General Skywalker, it's Bane, because Bane is one of the only characters consistently asked to do things undermanned, and the small amount of Relic Delta that he gets is going to be great, just for helping him do a little bit extra damage and stay alive a little bit longer. And yeah, that's all I got on that. But my Bane will be my next one.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me tonight, and enjoy the rest of your vacation.
Thanks for having me, dude. Thanks for having me, dude. I will probably not be available the remainder of my vacation.
Makes sense. No worries. And of course, all of you tuning in here already know that I'm here at twitch.tv/Tassenix, simulcasting from my YouTube channel, Tassenix Gaming, where if you've not been there before, check it out. A whole bunch of Soga-related content that you might be interested in. Truly, I am pretty worn out, so I'm not going to do the full outro, but I will say, oh, Nike Cat redeemed a hydrate. Megatron with the hats off. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for tuning in. Just what I needed. Appreciate you guys. But yeah, thank you to everybody that turned out for tonight. I might do another one of these tomorrow since I won't stream until Saturday. Well, I'll play it by ear, see how things are going. These are always fun, and I know you guys like when I do them, so... Chippy Chipperson says 10 more minutes. You want 10 more minutes? You got 10 more minutes worth of questions? You're pushing me, but... You know, if you guys wanted to start a second hype train, it's been, I think, a couple hours. I think that's enough to kick off another one. You guys want to kick off another hype train? I'll stick around. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. All right, Swagger Gameplay says, see you, Tass and Dagger. Yeah, no worries, man. Thank you for tuning in. See? I just tell people to kick off a hype train, and then the ads kick in. I appreciate it, Chippy. All right, guys. Let's see who is live. And of course, you know, as far as the regular appreciations and thanks, thank you to everybody tuning in. Of course, yes, all the regular stuff you can, you know, if you follow the channel on Twitch, you subscribe on YouTube. These are the best ways to support me. You can go above and beyond by doing Cash App, which is $Tassenix, PayPal, which is tassenix@gmail.com, and then my Patreon is for those who are definitely wanting to get, you know, every little advantage to help their Grand Arena game, including access to the bots that I like, OmegaBot and Hot Utils, and of course, early access to the Plotting and Scheming show. So check all that out, man. All right, let's get ready to raid you guys out. Same category? Wrong category. Search and filter. How about Galaxy? Is anybody online for Galaxy of Heroes? Zuli. All right, let's send you guys out to Zuli. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate you. And, yeah, we'll start up the raid. Get ready to send you guys out. Of Heroes. Doesn't look like anything's live on YouTube, but thanks for tuning in, all of you YouTubers. And yeah, everybody taking that raid out, appreciate you staying till the bitter end. And until next time, it's been real. It's been awesome. It's been real awesome. Take care.